Marty, how are you doing? Good afternoon.
Great to chat with you, brother. I'm amazing. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Weather's amazing here in Miami, and it's just a great blessing to be here. It's going to be a great game. Strength
No
on
doubt.
strength, brother.
Well, Marty, I know you've been busy reporting on the game and will continue as well as doing the game, but tell us your impressions of what you've seen and heard and maybe what it all means.
I mean, obviously, it's a landmark moment for Michigan, as you well know. First time they've made the playoff. Paul, I'm going to tell you, man, we all know how good Georgia is. You and I got to see them a lot this year. I've done so many features on their players this year. We have a great feature on Kirby Smart this weekend on SEC Nation. And that's a very confident team, and rightfully so. And every single question that they've had to answer, I feel like, over the last couple of days on all the Zoom calls that we've had to do due to COVID-19 protocol is about losing to Alabama. You can sense that they're being very respectful and very patient with that, but they're ticked off about the fact that they have to answer those questions. So even though they were the best team all year long until Alabama beat them up in the SEC title game, it's obvious that they feel they have something to prove, and that won't be easy against Michigan. Michigan, I've been with them. I went to Ann Arbor for an entire day, interviewed a bunch of players, interviewed Coach Harbaugh extensively. They're a very confident team. They got over the big hurdle that was Ohio State, went on, dominated the Big Ten, and made the college football playoff for the first time. And when you talk to their players, of course they respect Georgia. Of course they feel like Georgia's a great football team, but they feel like they're a great football team too that's every bit as good. And Harbaugh told me yesterday in a meeting, if we execute the way we're supposed to, if we play to our standard and we're able to block that great front seven for Georgia, there's no reason why we can't win this football game. So it is strength on strength. I mean, they're almost mirror images of one another in what they want to do. And so I just can't wait to see how this thing goes. It's going to be physical as all hell. It's going to be fun to watch.
Marty, let's talk about Jim Harbaugh for a second. You know him well. You've traveled the world with him. You spent time with him recently. Very misunderstood to the general public. Take us inside Jim Harbaugh.
Interesting that you say misunderstood, Paul. When I was up in Ann Arbor for that whole day of interviews, I broached that with him. I broached the fact that when people meet him, he might not make the best first impression. And he said, yeah, I'm not great at first impressions. He said, but as people get to know me, I mean, they really do start to understand me more and like me. He said, I just love football. I am so focused on that sometimes it rubs people a very unique and different way. And I've just been able to see him in a different light. It's funny, I was on SportsCenter earlier talking about the impact that he's had on his players. And the narrative has completely shifted on Jim Harbaugh simply because he finally beat Ohio State first, but won the Big Ten and made it here to the playoff, which has been the expectation for them for some time. And the big criticism that he hadn't done it before this year. Well, now he has, and so the entire narrative has shifted. But having, to your point, been around the world with him, I went to Paris with that guy for a week. I went to Rome with them as well for a week during their spring break trips. I've seen the way the players have responded to him. I've seen the way that he interacts with them. And this isn't the first year that he's had a dynamic impact, but I will tell you, having spoken with the players, Aiden Hutchinson, who's probably going to be the #1 pick in the draft, Heisman finalist. Josh Ross, who wants to leave a great legacy alongside his brother at Michigan. They read social media. They saw all the speculation and all the criticism that Harbaugh's tenure at Michigan may be short after a really difficult 2-4 miserable 2020 season. They read it all. They saw it. And I mean, Aiden Hutchinson said to me, I hate that he has to deal with that. It's actually much more sweet that we did what we did this year so that we could silence those critics. And they're aware of all the narrative. They know. And they also know that they're up for quite a challenge against Georgia. And not only is it a great Georgia team, but a really hungry one.
Let me come back and wrap up with that hunger, because you said it a minute ago, and they're putting up a good front or whatever they're putting up. It's killing them inside. Do you have any better understanding from talking to them, being around Georgia, what happened in Atlanta?
No, I don't. But it was interesting to hear Kirby Smart say today that I've said this about Alabama all year. I've said it on your show too. When they got hit in the mouth by Texas A&M, it was such a wake-up call for players who didn't understand how fickle all this can be, how fleeting all this can be. And Kirby Smart said today, getting hit in the mouth by Alabama might have just been what some of his players needed to realize it's a one-game season. Like, if we don't come out and play our absolute optimum level and have the utmost respect and preparation for what the opponent's trying to do, we'll get beat. And it is a one-game season, and this amazing year that we've had can end just like that. And so I don't know if they know what happened against Alabama, but they got beat up. And that's been the narrative in Athens. I interviewed Champ Bailey for that piece I told you, that feature we did on Kirby Smart. And he said something about the more they win, the more pressure it becomes, because the expectation now is elite excellence in Athens, Georgia. They just haven't won it all yet. And the big reason is Alabama.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.